Welcome to our channel, where we update the shocking, fascinating and emotional details of the movie Beyond the Gates. In the special episode aired on Wednesday, July 30th, long-buried secrets are finally exposed, leading to a series of events that plunge the lives of the main characters into extreme crisis. Join us in the most dramatic development ever, where betrayal, regret, pain and a complete collapse of trust will leave you unable to take your eyes off. When Martin feels his marriage is on the brink of collapse, he has no choice but to seek out Nicole, the woman he once coldly abandoned in the past but is now his last hope to help save his collapsing family life. Nicole, who has always had deep sympathy for Martin despite her own hurt, reluctantly agrees to help. She couldn't help but wonder about Martin's motives, but when she saw his tired face, his bewildered eyes, and his startled voice, she clearly felt that this time Martin was truly desperate. He didn't come to her to deceive her, but to beg for one last thing, to save the marriage that he was gradually losing, and that deep in his heart, he never wanted to let go. But when Martin was still struggling to find a way to fix his past mistakes, another shocking incident happened, pushing all his efforts into the abyss. An anonymous letter, no address, no sender, appeared right when Anita was trying to mend the emotional rift. The letter wasn't long, but each line in it was like a knife cutting straight into her heart. It exposed a horrifying truth. Martin had been secretly having an affair with her cousin for the past year without anyone knowing. This shock almost made Anita unconscious. She cried out in despair. The cruel truth made the world around her collapse completely. Her heart, which was already full of cracks because of Martin's coldness and indifference, was now completely broken. In extreme pain, Anita collapsed on the floor, panicking and unable to control her emotions. Her family immediately took her to the hospital, diagnosed with a severe nervous breakdown. The doctor requested close monitoring because of the risk of her falling into a state of severe depression after this intense psychological shock. At the same time, Vernon, who had been Martin's close friend for decades, could no longer remain silent. He had known the truth about the wrong love affair for a long time but had tried to bury it because he did not want to destroy the happiness of Anita, whom he had always considered a sister. But when Anita had to be hospitalized because of Martin, Vernon's patience completely disappeared. He could no longer forgive Martin. In front of the entire family, Vernon stood up and exposed everything. He told every detail of Martin's relationship with Anita's cousin, talked about Martin's lies, how he secretly arranged shady meetings, and how Martin defended his behavior as if it were something acceptable. Each accusation from Vernon was like a knife cutting into Martin's honor and self-esteem. Anita's family was silent. No one could say a word. Anger, disappointment, and disgust were evident in each look. Martin tried to argue, but his words were meaningless now. Vernon looked straight into Martin's eyes. His eyes filled with disappointment, declaring that from this moment on, there was nothing between them, no friendship, no forgiveness, no contact. The argument between them was fierce, full of anger and pain, ending with the complete breakdown of a friendship that was once considered the most stable. Martin stood silently in the cold room, surrounded by the eerie silence of those who once loved him. Now only contempt and coldness remained. While Martin was losing everything, wife, friends, honor, in the other corner of the story, another tragedy was silently forming. Dani, the mother who was known to be strict and controlling, accidentally discovered that her daughter was secretly planning to run away from home. She hid her suitcase under the bed, hid her savings in her bag and secretly bought a bus ticket to a faraway place just to escape the suffocating pressure that Dani herself caused. Dani felt stunned, unable to believe that her little daughter, who was always obedient and good, was trying to run away from her. When checking her daughter's room, Dani also discovered a diary filled with tears, where the child wrote about feeling suffocated, feeling unloved, and feeling terribly lonely in a seemingly perfect family. Dani felt like someone had slapped her in the face. Everything she thought was good for her child turned out to be killing her soul every day. For the first time in her life, Dani felt like she had no control over anything anymore. She walked out of her daughter's room, covering her face and sobbing, realizing that everything in her seemingly peaceful life was falling apart. Martin, after being turned away by the whole world, could only turn back to Nicole. He came to her like a miserable person who had been stripped of everything. Nicole, despite her heartache for what Martin had done, could not ignore his situation. She quietly welcomed him into the house, without asking anything. Martin collapsed into a chair, holding his head, tears streaming down his face. He told everything, without hiding anything. Without making excuses. Nicole listened quietly, clearly feeling that before her now stood a man who had lost everything, and whether he deserved it or not, he was still human. Martin's situation had no way back. Anita, despite being treated, still did not want to see him. The family had blocked all contact, Vernon had cut off their friendship. And Nicole, the only one left, now only held him in pity. After a while, rumors of Martin's relationship with Anita's cousin spread to the community. Martin's work was severely affected. Clients withdrew contracts, and his reputation was tarnished. For someone who was once considered a role model in society. This fall was not only a personal collapse but also a complete moral failure. Martin became quiet, taciturn, avoided public appearances, and lived in a small rented house in the suburbs. Meanwhile, Anita still could not overcome the shock. She refused all contact from Martin and her friends, and only passively accepted psychological treatment. Her family was afraid that she would hurt herself. So they always had to assign someone to be by her side. She often had nightmares, images of Martin and her cousin constantly appearing in her head, making it impossible for her to sleep well. Her life became a long series of days filled with pain and doubt. Love, trust, pride, all were destroyed in just a moment. Danny, after facing the truth that she was pushing her child into a corner, decided to change. She took the initiative to take her child on a vacation far from the city. Cutting off all contact with work to focus only on her child. During that trip, she tried to listen to her child more, spend time playing, sharing and no longer being as domineering as before. The relationship between mother and child began to gradually improve, although it was still far from returning to the way it was before. But at least Danny began to understand that being a mother is not about controlling, but about listening. The lives of the characters are no longer the same as before. Each person has to face the consequences of their own actions. Martin lost everything and is living in torment. Anita cannot escape the pain and is struggling to find herself again. Vernon always wonders whether exposing Martin will save Anita or just make things worse. Nicole quietly takes care of Martin but is always afraid that one day he will fall into the same old spiral. And Danny, who once thought she was the perfect mother, is now learning to love her child from the beginning. The story is not over yet, because such deep wounds cannot be healed overnight. But everything they have experienced has become an indelible milestone in their lives, a valuable lesson about honesty, trust, and the terrible price of betrayal. When everything seems to have sunk into pain and brokenness, another incident silently waits ahead. Unrevealed secrets are still in the dark, waiting to stretch out their claws to continue dragging the characters' lives into a fierce spiral with no way out. Will Martin find himself again in the ashes of his honor? Can Anita stand up after that devastating mental storm? And will Danny, the mother who is trying to win back her daughter's heart, be brave enough to make up for her mistakes? All will be revealed in the next episodes with unpredictable shocks. Don't miss a single moment, because every second that passes can change the fate of each character. Follow and subscribe to our channel today to not miss any episodes in the breathtaking, surprising and dramatic journey of Beyond the Gates, where the truth is never gentle. And the past is never dead.